In Zambia, a skeleton was found in the matrimonial bed of a prophetess. The question you must be asking is, whose skeleton is it? Apparently, it is the skeleton of her husband. He passed away 2 years ago. And for 2 years, she has been sharing a bed with his skeleton, with his carcass. One might be asking, why was she? She got a spiritual direction from a ritualist based in Tanzania, but I'm 100% sure that ritualist went to Benin. And she has been using the remains of her husband, of her long dead husband, to perform miracles, to heal the sick, to open financial breakthroughs for those who will be seeking her so-called anointing. She's a prophetess, mind you. And she is denying having orchestrated the demise of her husband. She's unequivocally saying she has nothing to do with the death of her husband. But when she's being investigated, I'm just telling you about a story that is still developing. We are still here to verify the facts. But I think it's worth it for you to have an insight of what is on the ground in the nation of Zambia, the God-loving nation. Zambians, they pride themselves to be a God-loving nation, a Christian nation. But I'll explain later how delusional Zambians are. When I say Zambians, I don't mean everyone in Zambia. I just say Zambians as a blanket statement so that you can understand the extent to which the majority of Zambians have been hoodwinked by these so-called spiritual fathers claiming to have this so-called anointing. Most of them are tied to diabolical covenants. Most of Zambians are tied to these spiritual covenants that have led them to this level of ignorance and submissiveness and addiction to falsehood, or to witchcraft, if I should put it correctly. Let's go back to the story of the madam, the prophetess, the woman of God. She denies having orchestrated the death of the husband. And then at the same time, she claims to have received a spiritual direction from her so-called spiritual father to keep the skeletons of the husband in her bed so that she can have power to heal the sick, to open financial breakthroughs for her clients, for her customers. So the question is, if she did not do anything to the husband, so how did the ritualist or the spiritual father give her the spiritual direction to keep the skeletons? Now let's think through this. The husband dies, and is he not supposed, before we even get to the part where the husband died, let's think about the husband being sick, because she claims he was asthmatic. He was sick and he became unconscious. What do you do if someone that you love, not just someone that you love, someone that you know, not just someone that you know, or if anyone becomes unconscious? Who do you call first? Your spiritual father? Never. At that point, you call the hospital. And the hospital must come to attend, or you take whoever that is to the hospital for medical attention. There is no one who can ever call the spiritual father. Or let's say she did. So does it mean she called the spiritual father and the spiritual father told her to let the man die? Or is it the spiritual father who declared that he is dead already? And he gave her further instructions to say, no, don't take the body out of the house. Just keep it inside and let it decompose. You need it for miracles. You need it to pull crowds. You need it to perform miracles. I'm just exploring the scenarios that could have led to the body having decomposed in their matrimonial bed. So the second scenario is, if the husband was really sick, she could have taken him to the hospital. And if she indeed took the husband to the hospital, after she realized he was unconscious or he was struggling to breathe, then there's no way the hospital could have allowed her to carry the body back to her house. So her saying that she has nothing to do with the demise of the husband, I don't think it really makes sense. So it's either she knows what she did to this man, together with his spiritual father. That is, if it is not the spiritual father who gave her the spiritual direction to unalive this man. so that she can have this great anointing. And when I tell you people that there's no prophet in our generation, when I tell you that there's no prophetess in our generation, you think I'm being used by the devil. And I'll say this again. If this madam, she's just a regular prophetess, if she can do a ritual like this for spiritual power, she does not even have a shrine, I presume. Now think about it, the major prophets. The major prophets. How many skeletons are beneath the foundation of their shrines? How many dead bodies are lying on their altars? How many? How many blood have they shed? Just think through it. This is just an ordinary prophetess who is coming up, who has not yet even gotten the fame, or who has not yet even made this impact in the society as most of these DDGOs have. I say this unto you again. All your prophets, they are tied to the Benin rituals. All your prophets are doing rituals to sustain their covenants. All your prophets are in one way or the other tied to the dark lords of Benin. And for them to be able to sustain these spiritual ties or these lifetime covenants that they signed up for, they have to spill blood. Sometimes it's the blood of their beloved, of their family members. Sometimes it is the blood of their church members. Because that's how you can only appease the devil. For anyone to be claiming to be a prophet, it means they have deviated from the core mandate any so-called servant of God was assigned by Christ. We don't need a prophet in this generation, and there is no any reason for a prophetic ministry. Any gathering that is under the banner of a prophetic ministry, it's a shrine. Any gathering, religious gathering, under the banner of a prophetic ministry, it's a shrine. It is sustained by rituals, by sacrifices. I want you to get through this your head. Let it be bent in your spirit that we don't have a prophet in our generation. We only have ritualists who are masquerading as prophets. We only have ritualists who are masquerading as prophets. We do not have a single prophet. When I say a single, I mean there is none. Put a big X on prophets. X. There is not a single one in our generation. I know this is sad to hear. You have believed so much in these men that you really want them to be prophets, but they are ritualists. And what makes them ritualists are the sacrifices that they do. When they did their initiation, they thought they are acquiring the gift of prophets, but they were becoming ritualists. When they were going to hunt for the prophetic gift, they thought they are becoming mighty prophets, but they were becoming ritualists. And when you hunt for the gift of prophecy, you don't become a prophet. And you'll never find it. But you can only find a spirit that is similar, which we call a familiar spirit. It's familiar in the sense that it operates as if it's a prophetic gift, but it operates in reverse. It only gives them the ability to tell people about their past. A prophetic gift from God, it reveals the future. That's why all your prophets in this generation, they can only tell you about your past because they consult spirits of the dead. This woman was consulting the spirit of her husband. Because when the husband passed away, his spirit, his soul became trapped in the realm of non-existence, in the realm of the dead. So keeping his remains made it easier for her to tap into that realm by using his remains, the realm of the dead, and get revelations. Which is the reason why I gave you the Dark Lords of Benin, so that you can have an insight into this information. They all did the so-called grave rituals that gives them the leverage or the ability to tap into the realm of the dead. When they say going deeper, they are literally going deeper into the realm of the dead, into the realm of non-existence. So imagine in the case of your major prophets, when they go deeper, how many dead souls are they consulting? Who exactly are they getting their revelations from? This thing is deeper than you can imagine. It's deep. But be careful, my Zambian people. Be very careful. I know you people are addicted to witchcraft. And you think you love God, but you love witchcraft. You are too delusional. You think you understand spiritual things, but you have no love for Christ. You have love for miracles. You have love for prophecies. You have love for all these spiritual directions. And in the process, you have all become tied to these dark covenants. And one by one, you shall all perish like fowls. It's not the love of God that you have. It's the love of witchcraft. If you can see you grouping yourselves and rushing towards Kakande, rushing towards TB Joshua, then it's a clear indication that it's witchcraft that you love. Because if you were true lovers of Christ, you wouldn't have anything to do with these ritualists that call themselves prophets. You wouldn't have anything to do with any of these so-called spiritual fathers. You pledge your allegiance to Christ alone. But it's a very sad case that this is happening. But it's also a good thing that the truth is coming to light. And I hope you will be saved. And I hope you wake up from the slumber. I hope you start counting your teeth using your own tongue. It has been long, ever since we've been exposing these shenanigans. And some of you are still in denial. You still believe there are sane prophets or sane so-called spiritual fathers. Well, I say it, and I'll say it for the last time. There is no prophet in our generation. They are all ritualists. They have all done rituals. They are all connected to the dark lords of Benin. And if you need more insights, understanding of how these your so-called prophets operate, give this testament a chance, the dark lords of Benin. It exposes all the dark secrets of your spiritual fathers. It will give you the journey that they took to become the ritualists that they are today. If you want to reclaim your spiritual birthright, if you want to be aligned with God, read the Dark Lords of Benin. And after you read it, I can promise you one thing. You'll never touch anointing oil. You'll never drink holy water. You'll never submit to any spiritual father. You will never. Because now your eyes will be open. The Dark Lords of Benin will scrape the scales from your eyes, and you'll see clearly that these men have nothing to do with God. These men are serving the devil. And anyone who serves the devil have no good intentions. They only come to steal, to destroy, to kill, and to lead you away from God. So be awoke and be wise. Learn or perish. Think or sink. Listen or remain adamant. But at the end of the day, you're the one who will cry. These are ritualists. They're all witch doctors. And I say it. And I mean it. And they can't even contest it because they know I'm telling you the truth. I have an entire list of all of them who have done rituals for them to have this so-called spiritual power, which is not really spiritual power. It's just a dark force that operates within them. It's just a demonic spirit that actually manipulates them. So when I see them, I feel sorry for them. You adore them. You worship them. You respect them. You honor them. But I pity them because at the end of the day, they will have to answer